All right. I'm just double checking everything else, and then we are good to go. Okay, beautiful. Go live on the private group, and we are now live on Instagram. Okay, cool. We are now live on Instagram. Let's rock and roll. So, Aaron, today something that's been super top of mind for me is dealing with price shoppers.
Okay.
We've talked about this kind of at a high level before. Today, I want to talk about it on a super tactical level. How to say
Okay.
it, what to say, how to say it, when to say it. Just to kind of recap conversations that we've had before to those watching publicly. When dealing with price shoppers, one of the biggest things that you want to keep in mind is that you do not want to give pricing right away, and you want to actually structure the conversation to where you're getting them information from the beginning that you can offer the right package to them. So, Aaron, to kick things off, again, this is top of mind. This is something we actually talked about on our highlights call. We covered it at a high level, but Aaron, sitting down with you, I want to talk about it on a very tactical level. So, Aaron, a lead calls you up. What's the first thing that they say when they're a price shopper?
Oh, hey, I got a 2015 Tesla Model S. What's the cost? It's the first thing every time.
Is it almost always that exact same thing?
Hey, what's the cost? They text you. What's the cost? Hey, I
Cost?
got your
Question mark?
quote.
Price? Question
Cost?
mark?
Question mark? Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, is this still available? Like from Facebook Marketplace? Okay, so now we know what they typically ask. Aaron, how do you take somebody who is really adamant about getting pricing, right? Maybe they're like coming off a little bit aggressive, right? They've called other shops, they just want a number out of you. How do you take that person and slow them down?
Yeah. The first thing is you're going to want to agree with them. Does this sound okay, by the way?
Yes, you agree with them right off the bat. Hey, William. And then, so, okay, what happens after you agree with them? Oh, your mic is disconnected, dude. No, your mic is out. Can you guys hear me? William, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Sal?
Yes, sir. I can hear
I
you.
can hear
It
you.
looks
All
like we
right.
lost Aaron. But while we wait for Aaron to iron out his technical issues, man. William, good to see you, man. How
You
have
as
you
well,
been?
man. Dude, so fucking busy.
Let's talk about that real quick while we wait for Aaron. Give us an
Well,
update.
yeah. I mean, on average day, I've been closing about 4 ceramic coatings a day.
4 ceramic coatings per day.
Yeah.
Tell me
Yesterday
which
we
of
had
those.
6. Yesterday I closed 5
What's the
of 4
split
brand new
between
ones.
vehicles and boats?
No, this is just cars.
These are all cars.
These are all cars.
Wow, Jesus.
I'm tired.
Aaron, can you hear us, Aaron? We can't hear you though. Isai, welcome, man. Welcome, welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. I think it's coming from your headphones though. No worries though. I think we can continue. So,
Oh, also, Sal, I forgot to tell you, we are moving into new shop space starting Monday.
can you hear?
dude, that is amazing.
So
Dude,
we will
that is
have
amazing.
2,400 square feet now.
2,400 square feet. That is a sizable shop. Nice, man.
Can you hear me?
That is, yes, loud and clear.
Hello, hello. Come in.
Can you hear us? I don't think you can hear us.
Me?
I can hear you, Aaron.
I don't think he can hear us though, which is okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Let's continue. By the way, William, congratulations, man. That is huge. Seeing your entire journey from start to finish has been super gratifying, and I'm super proud of you, William. I tell you this all the time, but seriously, when you first came to us, you were just transitioning from detailing to ceramic coatings, and now you've taken off like a rocket ship, dude. So you should be super
Sweet.
proud of yourself, man. And I'm super proud of you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, no. We got noise complaints from the neighbors because we're in a residential area, so we got kicked out. Or we're getting kicked out, I should say.
That's how you know you're doing it right, man. As soon as those
Exactly.
HOA people start complaining, that's when
Yeah.
you know you have the demand, and then you can go into a shop, which is going to be even better, dude, because we talked about this last week that selling in a shop actually works for you, right? A lot of people assume that because you're mobile, because there's that convenience factor that it might not work against you. But from what we're hearing across our client base is that shop base, at least in the summertime, is the way to go. And again, nothing against mobile detailers at all, but you can definitely do mobile coatings. It's definitely possible. But for whatever reason, that friction becomes a lot easier. It becomes a lot easier to sell high ticket coatings in a shop. So, dude, I can't wait to see what that's going to look like, William.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I hope we can keep up this traction during the winter. So
Yeah, no, it definitely will be a little bit decreased, but I think with the momentum that we have, the list that we have, the text blast, we could just lean more on that, like we did last year and the year before with our client base. So we just wintertime, you just have to like dial in on the sales process, which you've done, William, for like the last 8 months. So if not longer. So I imagine you won't have any issues going through wintertime. So, Aaron, with that being said, can you hear me?
I can hear you great. Sorry. I unfortunately my microphone broke. This is the USB thing.
Oh my god.
It completely cracked in half while I was trying to move the microphone. It was weird,
Kenneth,
but
welcome, man. Welcome.
Hey guys, thank you. I'm here. I'm actually under the weather today, so I'm gonna pretty much just listen.
Okay. Real quick though, I was texting Aaron about the conversation we had last week. Dude, whenever you feel better, we definitely should set up another meeting and
let's
kind of
set up a
outline what
Zoom.
we were talking about.
Oh, that's Aaron. Okay, I recognize
Yes.
who Aaron is. Sorry, I don't know what happened, guys, but I worked all night last night, and then I woke up this morning and I literally went back to bed, and I sent my crew to go do the detail today, and I've slept up till now. I just hit a wall.
Dude, no, I get that same thing too. It just hits you randomly. You just need a rest, and then for me, I just had a head cold last week. But yeah, man, it must be going around. So yeah, get some rest. Yeah, we're gonna talk about how to deal with price shoppers. So Aaron, and we're gonna take a more tactical approach. So Aaron, when a price shopper comes to you initially, you agree with them. You say yes, we'll give you a price. But then there's two questions that you're known to ask. Um, can you walk us through what those questions are, Aaron, and kind of how to say them as well?
So the two questions when the price shopper comes to you, they say, "What's the
Yes.
cost?" That's like the biggest question. So
That's their number one question. Yeah.
that's their number one question. What's your price? What's the cost? And anytime anybody ever asks you a question, okay, whether that question is, what's the cost? What services do you provide? What is your process like? I mean, any questions, right? The question that I always like to ask, well, first off, I'd like to agree with them, and I like to make sure that I'm understanding them properly. Okay, so I totally understand that you are looking for the price. Is that right? And you kind of rephrase it onto them. And they say yes. And then you go, okay, great. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. And then you kind of, what it's called in the sales industry, reframing. You want to reframe them to another question. So very simple. So I totally understand you're looking for, the price, and I can get that for you. That's not a problem. If you don't mind me asking you, what color's the vehicle? What service are you interested in? XYZ, those sort of things.
Right. So right off the bat, you ask them a question to kind of take them out of that thinking of I just need a number, you know? And I
Right.
think the biggest mistake that we see, Aaron, is when this is done the wrong way, they just give that number right away. And then that's kind of where the conversation ends without knowing when that customer is looking to get it done, how their paint condition is, right? All these things that really matter. And more importantly, getting that deposit and locking them in for an appointment. So, can you give us a good example, Aaron, of how this would look like when done the wrong way?
Yeah, so in sales, there's definitely a wrong way, but there's multiple right ways. Okay. One of the wrong ways to do it would just be like, yeah, so our price is this, or well, I want to ask you a few more questions because I want to make sure that we can, work on your car. It's something that's not very engaging and something that's kind of just like kind of dry, right? Like kind of flatlined almost. You want to agree with them, that's number one, but a lot of the times they don't want to ask more questions. So we need to figure out how can we lower their guard to be able to ask them more questions. And it's okay to give them a range to start because ultimately we're running Facebook ads here, and not every person's immediately going to be like, "Oh, I've got $1,500. Oh, I've got $1,000. Oh, I have $2,500." Not every person's like that. Some people, and this is unfortunate, but some people are really just wanting to get a. How do I explain this? They want to get a price. They want a price. It's determining if they're qualified to just get a price or not. And if you've qualified them to just get a price, maybe you think that they can't afford it, or maybe this, that, and the other, whatever, right? But if they are qualified to have a conversation and they're qualified they're actually like a qualified lead, you don't
Yeah.
want to give them the price right away. You might want to give them a ballpark to kind of ease that question, but not always. Yeah, I totally understand you're looking for the price. So let me ask you this. How soon were you looking to get this done? Let's start there. Okay, they tell you about that. Okay. And what's the main goal with the vehicle? Are you using it more on the highway? Are you using more on the side streets? What color is the paint? Asking all these questions. Then you can go into your building rapport stage. But you need to get through the intro to start. Every sales script starts with an intro. Very simple: who you are, what your name is, what you're looking to accomplish, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's just Aaron with attention to detail. Just, wanted to reach out. I got your quote submission, via Facebook. I got your quote submission online, whatever. You want to get through that intro part without what's the price? Like everybody asks that. Today we have like maybe 4 people. What's the price? How much does this cost? I don't know if I can even afford this.
And Aaron, real quick, I want to jump in. Why is it important to lower their guard? Right? Like somebody who has been getting ceramic coating leads or detailing leads from Google, they might not be dealing with that resistance right off the bat, right? Especially if all they've had as customers were friends and family, coworkers, right? Why is it important to lower their guard?
Really important to lower the guard because no one nowadays wants to be sold. Plain and simple. Nobody in their right mind wants to be sold.
What do you mean by that? Like, what are
When
like?
you go into somewhere, you don't want to be sold like a how do I explain this? Like
You don't want to be
like a
pitched.
like pitched. Yeah, you don't want
Yeah,
to. It's like everybody knows the used car salesman and the used car salesman tactic, and it's a very widespread thing. Everybody knows that it exists, and no one wants to be sold like that. I mean, literally, no one wants to be sold like that.
right, right. And I think the key thing to highlight there is, if done the right way, your entire sales process should not seem like a traditional sales process. You're just giving them all the information they need to know to make an informed decision, right? So it's not like you're like, I think the word sales in general has a very dirty context to it, right? Because
A
of the used car
a
sales. Yeah,
negative connotation.
a negative connotation because of the used car industry. And I come from the car industry. I think a lot of people in the detailing world come from the car industry. So when we say sales, we're not talking about the old way of selling, right? Where you're having to do high pressure sales tactics, or you're having to talk fast, or be super charismatic, right? Those things, the charismatic and the talking fast, might help. But the general idea here is if you do your sales process from start to finish the right way, that lead won't know that you just went through a sales process, right? So, Aaron, now that we know why it's important to build that trust, where do you take that conversation from there, right? They call you up, they say, I want pricing. You ask them a couple questions. Why are those questions important to ask, Aaron?
Yeah, questions are really important because not only are you getting a feel for them, and you're getting a feel for what exactly they are. They are. How do I explain this? You're getting a feel for who they are and what they need, and how you can help them best. But on the same hand, you're also making them, when they answer your questions, they're explaining basically to you, okay, how they're explaining themselves what, they're selling themselves what they want to hear. So when someone talks, they're saying whatever that they would want to hear. Okay, it's the same thing like an opinion. So if someone says, "Yeah, I want my car really shiny," and then I say, "Well, what else would you like about your car?" "Well, I also really want it to be protected. I don't want those swirl marks. I don't want this, that, and the other." They're telling you, but they're also telling themselves. So let's rephrase that and kind of reframe that. So I understand that you want protection, but we're booked out a month. What happens if you don't get on the schedule today? Well, if I don't get on the schedule today, then I'm going to have swirls and scratches and rock chips on my brand new car, and I'm going to have, I'm going to be really, really hot with no tint on, or whatever the case may be. They just told themselves why they need to get on your schedule.
That is their dominant buying motive, or one of the biggest reasons why they reached out to you. So keep that in mind. And I think the most important thing is you want to note that, because if you have that noted, the reason why they're calling you or what they're looking to get out of getting their vehicle ceramic coated, that is your ammunition. Now you can provide a tailored list of benefits based on what they told you. So if somebody says, "Hey, Aaron, my car just is not as shiny as it used to be when I bought it 4 years ago," right? So now you know what kind of package to recommend. It's probably not going to be a paint enhancement. It's probably going to be closer to a one step. If it's a dark vehicle and you really want it to be perfect, maybe a two step, right? But now you know what to recommend based off what they're telling you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So you're being able to qualify them by answering those questions. You're also able to really understand what they're needing to have done, so you can best fit them. But at the end of the day, they're telling themselves.
exactly.
Will, I
So
want to ask you: have you had a lot of people asking, like, "What's the price? What's the price?"
I have here, and how I just get over that is I set expectations about moving the call forward and how it's going to look.
Oh, can you move the mic? Talk a little louder.
yeah, I
Sorry.
think your thumb is on the mic or something.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, how I basically do it is like, I'll just tell them saying, "Hey, I'll need some more information about the vehicle before I can give you a quote. Do you have a quick minute?" That's how I set
Nice.
the expectation, and then that puts in transparency before I give them a quote. I ask them like, "What color is the car? What are you looking for?" And then just go from there. I'm a little bit different, but exactly the same thing you're saying, just in a different format. So
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So you're basically gearing them up. Give me 1 second.
So you're setting expectations so you can have like a 10 or 15-minute phone call where they're just like, "Hey, it's not the price," because if you ignore the question, "What's the price?" you're not listening to your client. You need to listen to your client. If you listen to your client, be like, defense is still up. You lowered their guard when you set an expectation.
Exactly. You're not steamrolling them. You're not kind of sidestepping the question without at least letting them know that, hey, we actually need some more information before we can give you an accurate price, right? And the big time pro tip is giving them pricing in person, right? So we can go into that in a little bit, but to keep things on topic over the phone, when somebody comes to you, the first thing that they have in mind is pricing, right? So you got to scratch that itch just by letting them know, like, hey, yes, we can give you pricing, but we need more information from your vehicle.
Yeah,
So,
all you're doing is scratching the itch. That's all you're doing.
Yes, you're kind of just letting them know, hey, we acknowledge that, but we do need some information before we can give you an accurate price.
Right.
But then, Aaron, what was that first question that you asked?
I don't remember.
What's the color of your vehicle?
Oh, I change it up. I mean, sometimes it's what's the color, sometimes how soon are you looking to get it done. It just really depends.
Okay.
I mean,
And
normally how I like to go first is within the first 3 to 5 minutes. I just try to get to know them, ask them about their vehicle, why they bought it, stuff like that.
so, William, do you take like a more like less aggressive approach? Are you
I
like,
take more of a
oh, okay,
passive approach, and then after I've had that phone call,
passive?
that's when I strike in. It's like, hey, if you're able to get it in this time next week, I'll knock off $100, or I'll throw in a free interior detail for you, which takes an extra half an hour for my team to do most of the time.
Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
Awesome.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
what I've been doing.
and it's working for you. It's like you are
4 deals a
on
day.
fire.
4
Four
deals a
deals,
day, dude.
4 ceramic coating deals a day, right?
Yeah, on cars. This month alone, like not including boats, we'll do about 35,000 in cars,
Nuts, nuts.
and
That's awesome,
we're not
man.
even, and we're booked out right now till about the end of August. So
That's insane, man.
That's
And
awesome.
again, William, I
So-
think that goes to show that you being in these calls, watching them, really putting into practice what Aaron talks about, just asking questions, keeping in touch. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I've personally seen, William, is that you're actually able to get and give that feedback and, execute on it. So cool, man. I'm glad that, things
I
are
mean,
working out.
like I'll have people call me and they're like, "Well, I need help," and it's like, "Okay, I can help you, but have you joined any of the calls?" No, I've been busy. Okay, William, do you need any help? No, I'm booking 4 ceramic coating jobs a day, and I've been in every single call.
Yes.
So you're
I've done
telling,
every single one, but most of them.
I mean,
Most of
I
them.
mean,
Yeah. A good portion
most.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So you join most of the calls, Will, and now you're up to booking 4 ceramic coatings a day. That sounds absolutely incredible to me.
Yeah.
It's insane, man. It's insane. Like
And-
this morning, under 10 minutes, I closed a $1,000 Lexus with free interior ceramic coating. It's a spray we literally just do from System X. So
That's
Nice.
awesome. That's like $1,000. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
That
it's-
that paid for this and Sal easily.
Yes. And I think the biggest takeaway though, when you do have your sales process ironed out, is it becomes so much easier to do the challenging part, which is the scaling side of things. Because
I
I think
mean-
scaling is really where people get lost, confused on. And a lot of it has to do with the sales process itself.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not booking jobs, you're not bringing revenue into your business. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You can't hire staff. You can't get a bigger shop. You can't afford rent. Stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think Kenneth, from what Kenneth mentioned on last week's coaching call, he's very much the same. Like he has a very ironed out sales process, and he's just doing more of it. So, yeah, I think that kind of goes to show that when you structure your conversation the right way, you can take what your competitors, you can take the leads that your competitors are dropping and turn them into book jobs, right?
Yeah.
Just by
Yeah.
thinking about different variables like packages, your quality of work, framing, everything we're talking about here. So, Aaron, just to jump back into the, dealing with price shoppers.
Yeah. So let's dive back in.
Yeah. So when you get that information from them, you lower their guard. What are the next steps in the sales process?
Yeah. Next press after you lower their guard is you're going to build some rapport. So now that their guard is lowered, you can build some rapport with them.
And why is building rapport important?
Yeah, people don't buy from businesses. People buy from people. People
Yes.
buy from other people.
Yes.
So that's the ultimate sales thing, and I mean it's been that way in sales for umpteen years. But when you go shopping, you're not buying because you have to buy that thing. Okay, you're buying because of the person or the company that makes that food or whatever. You're buying because of something emotionally, because sales is emotional, not logical. You can turn it. You can add logical pieces to slam on emotions, but you're not going to sell based on logic. You're not going to sell, well, do you want to buy this because, if you buy it today, it's $500, but if you wax your car for 4 times in the next 3 years, it's going to cost more than $500. Like, you're not selling on the logic that it's going to cost more money. You're selling on the emotion that they're going to have to now spend more money and they're going to be broke from not doing the ceramic coating for $500. That's kind
Yeah.
of like where it comes in. Like you can use logic, but the logic punches the emotion. That's the only
Yes.
way you can use logic. So, anyways, that's a tangent. But with emotion, sales is emotion, and the more emotional I can get somebody, the more I can get someone to love me, because love is an emotion. The more that are going to buy from me. Well, they're not
Yes.
buying because you have the best ceramic coating in the world. Because guess what? I have the best ceramic coating in the world. But they're buying from you because they like you. They like to talk to you. They want to do business with you,
Exactly.
right?
You give
Like-
off good vibes, right? I think that's the like when
No,
somebody's
exactly.
buying, especially from a local service-based business, they're largely buying based off the person they're talking with, their main contact point. And if
Yeah.
you know how to take that person and give them all the information they need, and you have proof to back it up, right? I think the biggest thing that we always recommend our clients to lean on is their years of experience, their reputation, right? Those things that somebody can look at objectively and say, okay, that lines up with what this guy's telling me. He's not just making it up.
I always look at the big businesses, right? When you look at a big business, okay, such as, I don't know, I don't know, a big business right now. But anyways, they have area sales managers and area sales reps. And there's sales reps that you can call to place an order from. It's not because the company won't make sales if they have everybody go through a portal or have everybody go through a sales team, sales office, or whatever the case may be. The reason people have area sales managers is because there's a level of trust. If you like the person selling you PPF, you're going to order more PPF. It's just that simple. So I take bigger picture things. I will take bigger picture things such as, but bigger companies, why do they have sales people still? Well, because, and then I read books on it and I figure out why people still have sales reps. I know
I
Chad
think-
had a question and Will had something to say.
Yeah, just to wrap up this last point, the reason why we're kind of emphasizing this personal aspect so much is because that's where people will make, like, if they're on the fence, that's what kind of will help push them over that fence. If they talk to somebody who's super personable, knows what they're talking about, has the experience, the knowledge, it becomes a lot easier to do business with Aaron, right? It becomes easier to do business with Kenneth or William or Isai, right? The people that we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Chad. Chad, you had a question?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, flip the
Okay,
camera
yeah.
around if you can.
Yeah, he tried doing that, but it's,
Yeah, I don't know why it's like.
no worries.
Let
Yeah, no worries.
me see if I can do that.
I'll
Anyways,
be
my
right
question.
back. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you want me to go over the question?
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, basically, I'm pretty good over the phone with talking to my clients, but I get a lot of people that, they want pricing. They say, I have a, 2022 F-150 black, and it's over text message. Like they'll just send it right through a Facebook message or something like that. And it's like, I don't really have, I struggle with my sales process when it comes to getting those kind of messages and everything, and trying to, push them in the direction that I want to take the conversation, so it's, how do I get them to either talk on the phone or,
Yes.
schedule, a consultation, or, how can I take it from something as minute as a text message, and they're wanting pricing right off the bat,
Yes, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And,
How can I take, go ahead.
Yeah. So before Aaron, and I kind of want to pick William and Kenneth's brain if you guys are down, and Jadiel's brain on this. But the first thing I would say is you want to give them a reason to get on the call. And what we've seen working really well recently is kind of framing that initial question like this. Hey, John, thank you for your interest in getting your vehicle coated with us. Would you be able to swing by our shop for an in-person consultation, or would a phone call work better for you? So we're kind of using the in-shop consultation as like an anchor for the phone call itself. Most people would rather do a phone call than an in-person consultation, but if somebody does come to that in-person consultation, now you have a way higher chance of closing that person.
what if they're not? You know what I'm saying? What if they don't want to do neither one of that?
Well, are you
You know?
giving them the option? Hey John, thank you for your interest. You know, would you be open to coming into our shop or, getting a quote over the phone?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I end up, yeah. So I've tried to push it in that direction before, and it just seems like, oh, yeah, we'll do it in the future, something like that. Like, yeah,
It's
I'm out of town
it's
right now. We'll see about a consultation when I get back. And, it's like,
they sidestep
okay.
it. Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
great point.
they sidestep it. So, it's hard to take that lead in, the direction that you want.
Right.
It's almost like a way to end the conversation. Oh yeah, well, we'll see
Let
when
me
I
think
get
about
back.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So then it don't even go
Yes.
no further than that. It's like, I don't know.
Yes, I get what you're saying. William, how would you deal with someone like that?
Hey, sorry, I'm running an issue with the car that we're polishing right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
But yeah, so I mean, Chad, why don't you, in your automated messaging system, why don't you just set it so the first automated message is like, hey, this is so and so with XYZ company. When is a good time to give you a call? That's what we've done.
Mhm. Right.
It's
So
so
you're
Yeah.
doing that right off the bat?
Yeah, you just do it right off the bat. Or if they're not, or they're just texting you, just why not call them? That's
So
as
you
simple as
ask
that.
them a good time to call them.
Yeah, just like your first automated message, and then they'll say like now 3 p.m. or in an hour or so.
What
Can
if
you
they
call
say I prefer text?
Then you'd have to structure that conversation a different way. I don't really do that. I just say, hey, that's not how we work. If you are interested in a quote, we can set up a short phone call.
Oh,
And
okay,
that
so
approach
you
is very
only
similar to
do okay,
This
so
is
you
what
only do over.
essentially what
yeah.
that does. It gets rid of your tire kicker. So it increases your time. So you're not wasting your time for people who just inquire off Facebook. What I've
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Kenneth, if you're able to, and I don't want to, bug you while you're sick, but if you're able to chime in there, how would you kind of handle that situation?
So just to let you know, it seems to me as that is a common issue of, I get that as well. People just wanting to text, and that's, to me, it's frustrating because we know that's the route we don't want to go down,
Right.
and we know that if we can't get that person on the phone, it's probably not going anywhere. So I don't necessarily have a different way than what was already stated. I did like the idea of changing a couple of things. I believe our automated system says, "Hey Joe, with the 2024, Ford 150, we have your quote ready." I don't necessarily like that as my first automated message because I don't. And if I had a quote, then I would just text it, right? And that would defeat kind of all of what we're chatting about. So
Right.
I'm glad that whoever just mentioned changed that first automated message. I've been wanting to do that for a while, and I do believe that will help. As far
Yeah,
as yeah, so that's a good plan, and I think that's been on my mind for a while, especially when I get people that are like, "Hey, what was that quote? You never sent it or whatever."
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's and a quick side question: who do we talk to about changing stuff like that? Just text them.
Yeah, just shoot the text to the team and we can update that pretty quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
Same day.
And then
Yeah.
so back to the question. I honestly don't have a good way of going about that. I struggle with that myself through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is they're doing. So I do the same thing of saying, "Hey," first off, I always just call them. Their number's there.
Right
I
off
just
the bat.
call them. So that's the best thing to do is just try and hope they answer the phone. If they don't answer, I leave a message and I say, "Hey, I just had a couple more questions for you." Um, you know, Sometimes I try not to, but I'll say, "Hey, can I get a couple pictures of that car? And can we chat once you send me those pictures?" Because if they're going to send you the pictures, they should be having time to talk right then and there. So my route isn't solid. I haven't overcome that issue myself. I have had more success by just trying to get them on the phone, by calling them right away, and then by, I'm not sure who said that, but by basically just saying, "Hey, I'd love to give you a quote, but I have a couple more questions to make sure I can get you closer to a hard quote rather than a general soft quote." And that's all I got. I don't really have anything else after that. Sometimes, again, I just never get a hold of them. They don't text back. It's an issue. Or sometimes they do come through.
So you know what you should do? How are your advertising videos? Are you in your advertising videos, Chad?
For my videos.
For your Facebook and Instagram videos.
So mine are, I think we're still playing around with them. I've only been with you guys been with Detail Growth for about 4 months or 5 months or something like that. So I'm in the process of just collecting more media to accomplish some of those other videos that are kind of on the hit list. My biggest video is just me walking up to a brand new Gladiator. I think it's coated in like a G Plus System X, and it's a pure like black mirror finish. And I just walk up to it, I do a little pan around the car, and then I start talking like 10 seconds into the video of, hey, if you want your car to look this good, shine forever, this is all we do. I just kind of go into that, give us a call. And I do get calls from that video. I think that video is decent. I actually like one of the other videos, but I just don't think it makes our shop look great. It's one of the videos I think the team made for us where it kind of just says, honestly, I don't remember everything that it says, but it's more of a pitch video. So it says, whatever that video is. So I could improve on my video content by far. And I've spent about 6 months now gathering content. We bought new GoPros. I bought the new Ray-Ban glasses.
Yes, I'm excited to see those.
Yeah, I bought the new Ray-Ban glasses, which is awesome first person because now you can use your hands and stuff. So I've just been gathering my media in line with the videos that I want to create to try and overcome exactly what this issue is now. Even in my video, I'll say, hey, if you want to quote, please do give us a call.
Yes.
I've got like 1 or 2 people that have hit my Facebook ad saying, hey, look, he's not giving quotes and this is a joke. And you just block those guys so nobody else can see them. But you'll get that every once in a while.
It's weird.
It irks me a little bit that some random John is going to, kind of talk crap about your video when you can clearly go to their Facebook profile and they're kind of, with respect, a bit of a joke.
Yeah. I mean, the best video that we have working for us that has significantly improved lead quality.
Yes.
For 6 months, I was using Salvador stock videos. And then we were using the same videos for probably solid year and a half, Sal?
Yeah.
And I just
up until recently.
And until recently, I'm just like, okay, I can see how this new video content changes. It's me doing a walkthrough of the vehicle, saying, hey, this is a red Silverado coated. I give a brief explanation, and then I pour a bottle of water on a ceramic coated car. And then I explain the benefits.
And I think what Will just mentioned helps with getting people on the phone. Because if somebody can see who you are, who they're doing business with, you kind of lower that guard right off the bat before they even submit that quote request. So
exactly.
That definitely helps. And I'm pretty sure that's something that Aaron also has experienced firsthand. So Aaron, just to kind of catch up to speed, Chad asked, how do you deal with people who do not want to get on a phone call, just want pricing over text?
Yeah, so there's a few things to note here. Number one is in your ads to actually have sales team put like a little checkbox that says like I agree to a call, and then you'll just weed out everybody that's like I don't want to call. The other thing is when you call them and they don't answer, you always call them first. If they don't answer, just shoot them a text message. Hey, I just tried to call you. When are you available? Okay, that's great. Blah 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 blah. And then right after that, what you go ahead and do is you'll go ahead and you'll say like, I know that you want to text. It just is so much easier if we can just do a quick phone call. Try that method. If they say no, I don't want to call, there's probably a reason behind that, and we can just uncover that reason. Okay, I just ask them a question. I understand. Are you do you want to talk later on the phone, or like what's the reason why you can't call? But you have to do it in a nice way. And one of the biggest reasons is that they're at work. They just can't talk. And so what we need to do is we need to take that I'm at work and I can't talk. We'll just call them after hours, basically.
Yeah, and most of my closing comes after hours nowadays.
Most of the closing comes after hours, and a lot of business owners can understand that, and a lot of sales reps do not understand that. A lot of my closing happens after hours and Saturdays.
Saturdays and Sundays are huge for me. So
and we hear the very same thing from sales reps that we contact, like our client sales reps who we're in contact with. We hear the exact same thing, like Saturdays, Sundays, right? When people have downtime, holidays are another big one. So I think that's
more
also
calls on Christmas than any other day of the year because everybody's looking on their Facebook.
Exactly. And Thanksgiving, like people are just around. They're not really doing anything. So like That's the time when you really go hard. So, William, you mentioned that wintertime, like we could lean on a lot of those holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, right? So, yeah, you can definitely keep the momentum going throughout the winter like we did last
Yeah,
year.
and
So,
another short-term momentum builder is like taking the ad and then like putting on an ad budget like to end tonight and then putting it at like $500. Like you'll spend $500 in a day on ads, but it will get you like 40 to 50 leads in one day. And it's crazy because during the holidays, it's such a momentum shifter. Like you could be slow and then you're like, I want 50 leads. Put it on, and then you raise the budget, and then all of a sudden it's just like lead, and then you kind of turn it off again. It's a method that I've tried before, and it's a beautiful method. It's awesome.
yes. Yes. It's something that Aaron has done. We don't do that for Aaron.
No, I do that myself, and
Yes.
and it's crazy when that happens. Like I did it one time by mistake.
Yes. Yes.
I put the budget at like
Oh,
$2,000,
this.
and then the end date was like
Oh my
tomorrow,
God.
and all of a
remember
sudden I
that.
got 40 leads in like 2 hours, and I'm like, Sal, you're a genius! And then I see like 3 charges on my credit card for like almost $3,000, like $2,000 or whatever. I'm like, oh, yeah. So that's funny, but it works. So you can kind of scale that method down if you're looking for some volume in a certain slow period. But yeah, that was a good question though, Chad. I mean, unfortunately, it really just depends. Like it really just depends on
Yeah, and just for the clients that we have here and any clients listening, if that is an issue where it's not just happening 1 week or 2 weeks, we could definitely help by implementing some of what Aaron mentioned with the actual form itself. So by default, we get people to manually enter in their information, but there's also other things that we can add to the form that'll help weed out those people that have no interest in a phone call right off the bat. So one of the questions, just very cut and dry, is what is the best date and time to contact you via phone call, right? So a question like that, and we have other questions that we kind of reframe,
but
just
you always
depending
want to
on
call them first.
exactly by default. By
By
default.
default, call them first. If they don't answer, hey, when is a good time? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great question though, Chad. So yeah, if you're down, we can look at your form. We can take a look at it and see if just adding some questions or rephrasing some questions help kind of set that expectation right off the bat. Because we've noticed that in some markets, you can't get people on the phone no matter what you do. So it's like, how can we kind of navigate over text? And we have a client who only does text. Like he's the exact opposite. He's like, I don't want people to call me. I want to just text. He's a younger guy, so he has the energy for text. But yes, I think after a while, you can really get burnt out following up with leads, keeping up the conversations, all these different text threads, right? So at a certain point, you just want to get straight to the chase with a phone call. So Chad, I think it does have to do with what Aaron said with just catching people when they're off work, when are their lunch break, before work, right? So those hours are like prime time, right? I saw this firsthand when I was there with Aaron a couple months ago. He is on the phone all day, every day with leads, like literally until 10 p.m., if not later. So I think it's just trying to find what you're hearing from your leads, what times work best for them. And you'll notice that after a while, you'll notice a pattern. Like usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday tend to be the best days because that's when when you're not as busy, when they're not as busy. Going into the weekend, things kind of ramp up a little bit. So that might be, just keep that in mind that people, they're at work. You want to catch them when they're not at work, right? When after hours, or have some sort of automated process to catch them when they're not busy or doing something else.
The other way to do it is, and this is just really blunt, but put up a calendar link and say, once they fill out a form, redirect them to a calendar link to book a call.
Yes.
I have my VAs who don't know anything about detailing or anything like that, and they're awesome. And all they do is book calls, and it's really easy. They just book like maybe 10 calls on the weekend. Like, hey, can we shoot you a call, on Monday? And then everybody's like, sure. We get about a 80% show rate of answering the phone calls. So, I mean, just maybe have somebody for like $15 an hour, just like texting all the leads and like, hey, can we call you on Monday? Hey, can we call you tomorrow? Hey, can we call you Wednesday? Hey, can we call you Thursday? And then
So this would be somebody that is doing that back and forth for you, right?
Yeah.
Getting, because a lot of the times that back and forth is what will cause that burnout, right? Or where you're just like, man, we've been playing phone tag, or this person, like, they keep rescheduling. So that's a great idea, Aaron. Getting a virtual assistant, somebody who can hop in. It doesn't have to be a virtual assistant. It could be your wife if she works in the business with you, a family member, right? Somebody that's there to follow up with the leads and stay on top of it, right? Whereas with somebody who's an owner operator, where they're having to choose between following up with leads or actually doing the jobs, that's where things can get very messy very quickly. So yes, if there's a way to get somebody to do that for you, I would highly recommend it. We have had a number of our clients get set up with VAs who do a lot of that heavy lifting for you. And the reason why I would recommend a VA versus like an AI software is because AI is not perfect yet.
I don't like AI software. I've done my testing on it.
Yes, and that's exactly what we hear from other clients who do that AI software setup as well. Is, hey, we set up with this company. The chatbot didn't know how to respond to certain inquiries, so it just was useless. We've seen that time and time again. But when you have a human doing it, who you can kind of mold and train to follow up with those leads, and they understand how your product works, where you're located, right? They're dedicated to you. That's where that magic happens. And by just saying this, it's not something we offer as a service or anything. We do know some people who could be used as a virtual assistant or have experience within the detailing industry. So if you're interested in that, just shoot me a text or an email or comment on the Facebook group, send us a DM. We're happy to connect you to. We're not a recruiting agency. We just know people who have virtual assistant jobs, which can make a lot of the appointment setting, getting people on the phone call a lot easier. So yeah. So just to kind of wrap up here, Aaron, now that we know what to say when somebody gets on the phone, how to lower their guard, how to answer any questions, how to build rapport, how do you take all of that, right? Let's say you get a lead. They're super on board. They've done the research. They decided that you're the company to deal with. How do you not drop the ball when you transition to the close?
Yeah, transition to the close. Ask them how soon you want to get this done. That's not a problem. Tell them you have a few dates open. Go in. Tell them that the price is normally X, but today it's X. No matter what, even though myself included, I always feel better when someone tells me that the price is lower for me, whether it's just
even though you know that's a tactic.
Even though I know it's a tactic, I always just feel better. It's all emotional. Sales is emotional. Yeah. Sales is emotion. Sales is psychology. It's a psychological thing. Okay, sales is all psychological. So
you're saying that right?
Yeah, psychological. So when you go in for the close, you say, "Oh, price is normally this, but I'm going to do it for this today," or "It's normally this. I'm going to knock off $100, but I'm also going to, like Will says, do an interior coating for free. I'm going to tint your 2 front windows for free. It costs me like $80 to $100 to tint the front 2 windows. Take $100 off. Here's $100 in free tint, and that free tint to them means so much more emotionally than just $100 or $200 for free. It actually means something to them.
Especially if they didn't know you already offered tints, right? They were just going to you thinking that they're going to get their car coated and then they'll get their windows tinted at some other place at another time. But if you can bundle those two together, frame it like that. Hey, John, you mentioned that your windows were untinted, or you have a brand new vehicle, or the windows tinted. Well, we can actually combine the two. And now you're actually building more value with that person.
You built more
while
value.
Increasing the ticket size.
Yeah, increase ticket size, built more value, and then you just say, "I got this date if you'd like it," and then you tell them the price, and then you're just silent. Wait until they respond.
And then where does the like if the conversation does not go that well, right? If it does, if somebody's like actually on the fence, again, they've done the research, they know what they're talking about, they decided to go with you. But let's say that the price was a little bit out of their budget, but you have something to work with there. How do you handle something like that, Aaron?
I'm going to do whatever it takes to work with them. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's how most businesses succeed. And they succeed very, 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 very well. Work with your clients, be of service, just work with them. That's all you need to do is work with them.
Can you give us a good example of what working with a client looks like?
Yeah, they give you an excuse. Well, let me just think about this. Okay, well, we already know that you want to think about it, and you're thinking right now about the price. Okay, well, I know that you're thinking about the price being 2,500, but what were you expecting it to be, or what are you thinking that you would want it to be, or I mean, let's just keep going now, right? Like we can just keep going. So, like, okay, so I know that the price is 2,500 and I can't really adjust the pricing, but what I can do is ask you if you were to do this today, where would we be at? Okay, where would we be at? And then they go, well, I really wanted to do it for like $2,000 or under. Okay, so there's two options here. We can either do it for $2,000 or we can lower the package a little bit. Well, okay, I can't do 2,000 on this package, but if I take off, the trim coating and the wheels and the windows, like I think we could work with that. I think that wouldn't be an issue if we worked with that. So those are the different things. Like, and then they'll be like, oh, so it's a 3-year coating instead of a 5-year, but I'm still getting all the correction and I'm still getting this and I'm still getting the tint and I'm still getting, the interior coating. Okay, done deal. Sold. So,
And I think the important thing to note
excuse
there
me,
is that there's a compromise on both ends, right? You're not bending over backwards for them, but you're also not, you know, being stingy, right?
right,
You're compromising.
right. That's exactly right. Yeah. You're not bending over backwards, but you're not being stingy. And to gain one more client and have, $200 in your pocket less, but you still profited and you gained a client, that's a win-win-win because that's one more car you can use for your social media, one more car for you to work on and pay your guys' labor. It's
Exactly.
one more car for everything. So
Oh, sorry.
I'm kind of getting like an echo.
Yeah, I think that was coming from Chad. All
Okay.
good.
So yeah, so like with all that being said, right? Like you at the end of the day, $2,000 is a lot of money from 2,500. I can't take off 500, but I can take off $300. That's 2,200, and then any positive reviews I give $200 for. So I'll do it at 2,000 if you leave us a 5-star. That 5-star is going to give you way more than $200 in business. I can guarantee that. Every single review matters so much more than everybody thinks. So there's
Yes.
negotiate it. Like one of my clients, he owns a pizza joint. He said I can do 1,700, but I can't do 2,000. $300. That's 3 shop meals and pizza. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So how about $1,700 and you give us 5 meals of pizza for free? Bring the shop pizza 5 times. He
Now
said,
you
done.
just fed your guys. And you got a customer.
Now I got a customer and I fed all my guys, and that's another 5-star review because they all ate 5 stars.
And that's just on the front end, right? That's just on the front end.
That
That's
has
just that deal
nothing to
that you
do
made
with
with
how
that
many
person.
referrals. That doesn't.
doesn't
How many
include the
referrals
referrals.
can they do?
A lot.
2 to 3, right? Depending on the person, their wife's car, their daughter's car, right? That's not even mentioning their coworkers, how they brag, or like when you're at work and you're just showcasing your car, you're like, man, look how shiny it is. It's gonna stay shiny. It doesn't have any swirl marks. Like that itself. Plus, if you can stack that on top of Aaron gave me a really good experience, give me a really great price, reach out to him, right? So there's a lot of
Exactly
ways to
right.
monetize it with referrals and with your maintenance, right? Maintenance is another thing we're not really even scratching, right? If you have a really thought out maintenance program, you can actually be very competitive with your front end prices and know you're going to make that up in 6 months getting that person on a maintenance plan.
There's a bunch of different ways, and us as business owners need to think outside the box, plain and simple.
Yeah. So just to wrap up here, anybody have any thoughts or recommendations as
Or
to
questions.
any questions here to wrap up? And I'll also check Instagram. Good on Instagram, good on Facebook. Okay, cool. With that being said, Chad, Will, Kenneth, and Asai, thank you guys so much for your time. I will see you guys next week. Have a great week. Adios.
See you guys.
Peace. Kenneth, hope you feel well, man. And we'll reach out to you about updating those automated texts.
Okay.
Thanks
cool, sounds
everybody
good.
for joining, and thank you for everything.
Great discussion. Yes. Adios.
Peace.
Okay.